He's back and he's all growed up. That's right. Time for another edition of the Kaufman Corner podcast. With you, as always, the good doctor, Dr. Rany Jazayerli, one of the co-founders of Baseball Prospectus. My name is Soren Petro from Sports Radio 810 WHB. Fantasy camp happened. We have proof. And Rany came back. He's not in a wheelchair. He's not on crutches. It's an amazing feat. We're going to hear exactly what happened on fantasy camp, how Rany dominated, at least from his emails and texts that I've received. Apparently, he led fantasy camp in home runs and stolen bases, a rare feat, while also leading in wins as well. I'm not sure that I'm buying it, but we're going to hear if it's true coming up right here, right now on the Kaufman Corner podcast.
You're listening to the Kaufman Corner podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Royals, breaking down the Royals like no one else can. Kaufman Corner is hosted by Rany Jazayerli and Soren Petro. Rany is a co-founder of Baseball Prospectus, author of Rany on the Royals, and a former columnist for Grantland, The Ringer, and The Athletic. Soren is the award-winning afternoon drive host of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. Kaufman Corner is proudly brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, Kansas City's nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor, making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. And now, here are your hosts, Rany Jazayerli and Soren Petro.
All right, welcome to the Kaufman Corner podcast, where we do see Rany Jazayerli, who has come back from fantasy camp, and tall tales, Rany, that I'm hearing about your performance in fantasy camp. Fill everybody in on how you dominated, and a lot of the guys, I understand it, were saying, man, you sure you didn't play in the big leagues? Tell me about how this went down, Rany.
Well, there were many things I expected from fantasy camp, but the one thing I did not expect to leave with a contract. Apparently a 50-year-old with high blood pressure and a bad back who hasn't played baseball in 30 plus years is apparently the Royals' solution to their second base solution right now. So yeah, I'll be back in February. No.
Okay. I like it.
But I will say this. So in 2015, my wife's family, we all went on a cruise to Alaska. My first time to taking an Alaskan cruise trip. We departed from Seattle, and the next morning you wake up in Ketchikan, Alaska, which is sort of the southeast border. And I remember walking out on the little balcony on my little stateroom on the cruise ship, and you see the ocean, you see this gorgeous forested hill. Just I just remember looking at this absolutely screensaver worthy view on the first morning we're there, and like, yep, this is the Alaska of my dreams, right? It met my every expectation.
Okay.
So fantasy camp was the Alaska of vacations. It met my every expectation. It was exactly what I imagined it would be, and that is such a rare thing. That is like the highest compliment I can give it. It was really a fantastic experience.
Yeah. I heard you were a little nervous to start.
Well, I mean, first off, I was nervous to make sure that, none of the players, none of the coaches who were there, none of the, Royal support staff were people that I might have, written unkind things about many years ago and now live to regret. So that was my first aspect. But fortunately, I mean, the roll call of the former Royals who were, coaches and devoted their time for 5 days was these were not nobodies. I mean, obviously George Brett is there every year. But each team had, a long-time major league veteran. I mean, Amos Otis and Willie Wilson and Mike Sweeney was there when Mike Sweeney had to leave, because of course he had to leave for his anniversary, because that's the kind of guy Mike Sweeney is. Yeah. Of course he would leave for his anniversary. They brought in Mark Gubicza to replace him. Joe Randa. My coaches were Mark Tian and Jamie Bluma. And every team had two coaches.
Not a bad combo, I might add.
No,
personal favorites.
Right, exactly. Forget their major league experience, just in terms of personalities. I mean, obviously we've had Mark on the podcast here in the past, and Jamie. He and I had never actually met, but I mean, Jamie very well, and he's around town, and I got an opportunity to get to know the guys. So that part of it, I was a little nervous about, and that I had nothing to worry about. And then part of it was just sort of, I haven't probably played an organized game of baseball since I was a teenager. I've played some softball here and there, but I've not played in a men's league. I tried to prep a little, went to the batting cage a few times, threw long toss with my brother just to get the arm, so I could actually make a 30-foot throw maybe. But I just didn't want to embarrass myself. I had no illusions I was going to be, I was not going to be leading the league in home runs, stolen bases.
So that didn't happen? You didn't lead the
only because stolen bases are not permitted in fantasy ball. So
because enough of you old fools get hurt without trying to steal bases. They want to try to eliminate some of the walking wounded, right?
Yeah, the only statistic I cared about was number of injuries. I wanted to keep that at a solid 0. Thankfully that I kept it at 0. That doesn't mean I wasn't barely able to walk by the end, but I think I lost like 10% of my running speed with each passing day. Like I've never really, I never knew what it meant to have like sore quads before. Mm-hmm. And by the end, I mean, even now, like going downstairs right now, like I'm holding on to the rail, my friend. Like it's just like, I need some time to recover from it. But in terms of, performance, like, was I the best hitter on my team? No. But was I the best defensive player on my team? Also no. But did I have the best arm on my team? No, also no. But I held my own. I think I didn't embarrass myself on the field. I made a few mistakes. The thing I'm probably most proudest of was that. So the way it works is the first 3 innings of every game you bat against an actual pitcher from the other team. The last 4 innings, we play 7-inning games. The last 4 innings, your coach pitches to you.
Okay.
So just like how in real life, you start your life, you're in diapers, and then, you live your life, and then you get back, you're like 90 and you're back in diapers again. I feel like we're doing the same level of regression here, because you have coach pitch baseball when you're like 6 years old until the kids know how to throw strikes. And now we've regressed back to playing coach pitch baseball for 4 years.
And presumably your coach throws hittable pitches, right?
Theoretically, yes. Like I said, the thing I'm most proudest of was that none of my at-bats against an actual pitcher from the other team did I strike out.
Okay.
But Jamie Bluma struck me out 3 times.
And he's trying to help you.
Yeah, he's trying to help me, but he just couldn't help himself. He struck me out 3 times, which is almost as many strikeouts as he had in his entire major league career. So, but I managed to make contact. I think I hit my last plate appearance to finish at an even 300 batting average, which sounds great, except that the league average was like 450 or something. I should point out,
dude, listen, I will never, ever, ever, ever go and play. But if you told me right now, look, if you come and play, you'll bat 300, then I would strongly consider it. Like I'm proud of you. I'm proud.
Well, thank you. First off, I will say, I mean, at least half a dozen campers came up to me and asked, when is Soren coming down? And I told them what you had already told me, which is not in a million years. It will never happen. I will point out that, like, by league rules, there is no such thing as an error. Everybody has a 1,000 fielding percentage. So, like, if you hit a ball and the shortstop throws it over the second baseman's head, and then the right fielder throws it over the second baseman's head again, and you end up on third base, that's a triple, my friend. So keep that in mind. So, like, the league average was like 450.
Okay.
But I was proud. I was like 300 seems like a nice round number. I was able to get. I think I was 6 for 20. It was kind of amusing because I think I walked in the first 2 games, because me. Team OBP, right? Like I had to put that up. Well, the rule is, if you get a walk, you have the option of recycling the count back to 1-1, because people want to hit, and obviously none of us can throw strikes. So you have the option of just saying 1-1, and you get to stay up there and bat again. And I felt like I'd be betraying my personal principles if I didn't take a walk that was presented to me after spending the last 30 years of my career extolling the virtues of OBP. And as my teammates said, look, it's fantasy camp. It's your fantasy. So do whatever you want. And then they added, but nobody's fantasy is to take ball 4.
Right.
And I had to tell them, well, not nobody.
Yeah.
So my fantasy is to get on base. So, but after I realized everyone else was eschewing the walk and taking, batting again. I decided, okay, I'm going to.
The first time you did take a walk.
That's the first 2 times. Yes.
Okay.
So, and then if you walk on 1 and 1, then you take first base. So you basically have to walk twice to walk once. So,
okay.
So I ended up with 3 walks. So I ended up with a nifty 392 OBP. So you should be proud of me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I am proud of you.
Still lower than the batting average for everyone else, but I'll take it. And I played mostly second base because I don't have the arm for short or third. And I was terrified of tracking fly balls. But it was great because like you watch baseball your whole life, but you haven't played in so long. Just that instinctual knowledge of, okay, ball is hit to the outfield. I need to go out and take the cutoff throw, or I need to go to second base, or, man's on first base. Immediate runner on first base, ball hit to the third baseman, immediately run to second to take the relay throw. Like these are all things you know what to do, but like to have that instinctual, not even have to think about it to do it took some time to get back into that groove. And it was actually kind of exhilarating to feel like, wow, I'm on a field again. Like, I've got to react at the crack of the bat. And knowing what to do. It felt good to put it in application, if you know what I'm saying. Like,
did you feel like you had baseball IQ, that you were making the smart moves, you were taking the base when it was there?
I would say
something stupid.
Oh, of course I did something stupid. Are you kidding me? I mean, we're all out there. It's amusing because, like, I remember one of the first games. First off, so the average age is probably early to mid 50s. You can be, you guys got there, you could be as young as 30, but I mean, The oldest guy in camp was 85 years old. He's known as the judge. He's a legend. He's a retired judge. And he was catching and he hit line drives to the outfield. Like, there are guys out there who come every year. I mean, the customer satisfaction rate for camp is extremely high. Like, there were about 20 rookies this year out of, I think there are 96 campers, and that's unusually high. Most years they tell me there's only like 8 to 10 rookies because basically you have priority if you've been there before, and everybody wants to come back and do it again. But look, we're average age is in the 50s, so we're all slow. So the ball is hit, and I'm watching our batter run to first base, and I'm like, my God, that's slow. But then, of course, the third baseman, his throw to first base is like a rainbow that's like bouncing to, like, everything is just like watching a major league, but everyone knows what to do. So it's like watching a major league game in extreme slow motion. And it was like a bang bang play at first base. We have actual, like, I believe they're like minor league umpires who come out, are based in Arizona. So like the professionalism is actually, very high. You have like real umps. Mind you, the umps, like when a ball's fouled off, the umpire reaches into his pocket. He throws the ball back to the pitcher faster than any of us are throwing, right? Like, the umpire's got the best arm on the field, probably. I
have a question. When the first time the guys run, do all the coaches just start laughing? Like, having seen big league athletes and everything, and then they see you goobers out there, do they just, like, does it take 3 innings for them to stop laughing every time you guys run? Or your throws?
I suspect if it was their first camp, maybe. Like, I'll give the coaches tremendous credit because, like, they are relentlessly positive, even though you have to know that deep down, it just hurts them in their very soul to watch baseball being played this badly. But like many of the coaches, I mean, Dennis Leonard's been coming forever, right? Like I mentioned, Willie Wilson. The only coach I think it was his first time was Tim Collins, who was a favorite of mine. Remember the 2014 pitched for the 2014 Royals, got a ring the next year. I took batting practice against him, which, there are so many moments that just feel completely surreal. This idea that, like, that's a former major leaguer out there.
Yeah.
And acting, we're buddies and we're just like playing baseball. And it's like, why? What am I doing here? This doesn't make any sense. I actually got a chance to take batting practice against Jeremy Guthrie. He had a little event for his J Guts charitable foundation. So you pay a little extra and you get to face him on the mound, full uniform. He's throwing, he's not throwing 95, but he's probably throwing in the low 80s off the mound. He's like, you can choose, you can tell me what pitch you want, or you can just get the full experience. And I said, F it, I'm doing the full experience. So his first pitch to me was a curveball that like bounced off the plate, and I swung over that sucker like by 3 feet. Like it was like, oh, okay, now I know what a major league curveball looks like. And then he threw it again, and I will say I held up. I was like this and pulled back, and everyone watching was like, "You held up, Rany. You held up. Great job, great job." Like, so I was feeling my oats a little, and then watched a fastball like right down the middle on the third pitch. But then the last 2 pitches, I made contact. I was able to foul them off. So I can always say I managed to hit a foul ball off of Jeremy Guthrie. That I'll take that to my grave. So there you go. Yeah. So yes, the difference between, retired major leaguer and, recreational ball fan guy, very stark, my friend.
I like it. I like it. Well, you know what? Let's take a quick break here. We want to recognize our great sponsors here on the Kaufman Corner. And then I want to come back and I want to dive a little bit deeper. But we'll go to another level of the Royals fantasy camp experience from Rany Jazayerli, as I think everybody is, first of all, thoroughly impressed with their 300 batting average, no matter how much you cook the books. I'm going to tell you, I am really, really proud of you on that. We'll get a little bit deeper right after you hear from our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, proudly serving the greater Kansas City area. Nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. Locally owned and making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Let Gann educate you about the most cost-effective way to solve your parking lot problems. With free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty, Gann Asphalt keeps your parking lot safer and helps you and your business avoid unnecessary delays and costly expenses. Find Gann online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Northland Injury Law, Kansas City's Google 5-star rated personal injury lawyers, serving KC for more than 40 years, voted Kansas City's #1 accident lawyers, helping people with serious injuries from car accidents, work accidents, falls, and other personal injuries. Northland Injury Law doesn't get paid unless they get money for their client. Don't wait, get compensated now. If you have a case, text HURT to 22222. That's HURT to 22222 or call 816-400-HURT. That's 816-400-4878. The choice of a lawyer is an important one and should not be based solely upon advertisements. All right, Rany, so we've heard the basic overall structure of what you did in camp, but let's talk a little bit about, what it looks like to see you, right? Like, because you felt it. We have a little surprise for you here. You mentioned, who were your coaches again?
Mark Tien and Jamie Bluma.
Well, it just so happens that when Jamie Bluma had a little bit of time to join us here on the Kaufman Corner podcast. Jamie, how are you, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great, and thank you for giving us some time. So, I know you just popped in here, but Rany said he led the league in homers, stolen bases, wins, and strikeouts, from the mound. Is this true? Was he called himself, he said they'd never seen talent like his. He was the Shohei Ohtani of Royals fantasy camp. Is that real?
Pretty close. Well, one of the things that we like to say is what happens in surprise stays in surprise. So a lot of things that happen out there, including some things that happen at Kangaroo Court. Unless you were privy and you were there in person, there will be no denial or no acknowledgement of said activities.
Okay, so how was he? How did Rany show for himself?
You know what? He did good. I mean, that's the thing. I've been coming enough years, and people that I talk to, like, oh man, I can't. Like, yeah, you can. Like, come do it. I know you don't think you're in very good shape, this, that, and the other, but I've seen from the Bobby Kerrs of the world, Rany, you can. That's a really, really, really good player. To a couple guys that were there this year that played in college, to 70 some odd year old guys that have never played before. That's not what it's about. It's going out there, and the one thing that I'm always worried about, especially with rookies, is take it easy in your first at bat, because there's nothing worse than that first at bat jumping out of the box and pulling a hamstring, and then you're really in bad shape for 5 more days. And yeah. I know what it costs to go, and I didn't want to see that. So we have 3 rookies on our team this year, Rany being one of them. Like, take it easy. Take it easy that first at bat. I know you're excited. And that's what you want to do, is you want guys to make contact, one, one of the rules when we are pitching against our campers is if you hit the L screen, it's a base hit. So that's what we get. We get guys to try to shoot for that later in the games. And when you're hitting off another player and you think you're slow, but the play happening in front of you is equally as slow. So just take your time and try not to. I mean, you don't want to see. This is one of the first years in a long time that we didn't have a major injury, a blown Achilles or a knee or an ACL or something like that.
Well, I assume that at some point there was kind of a twinge, or maybe somebody kind of felt a little something. Was it at that point that Rany ran across the diamond going, "I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor. Stand back. I'm a doctor"?
Well, there was something else that happened on one of the nights at the fire pit that absolutely happened. But as we said, we can't talk about that on this show. But
my lips are sealed. We'll just say one of the team's names may have been changed after that from Team Black to something else.
One of these days when we're all having beers together, we can recap that story, Soren. But the great thing is, and I'll tell you this: the MVPs at camp are Paul McGannon and Nick Schwartz, because they put Humpty Dumpty back together 50 times a day, 5 days in a row, to be able to get guys out and back on the field. So I know a couple guys that, tweak a hamstring or whatever, and they go get it wrapped, and they wrap the hamstring so tight that they think that it's worse because they can't walk. But Rany did a great job, and we talked about it when we got one of the things that was completely different this year than had been different in the last 4 or 5 years is we actually had a draft. In the previous 4 years, teams were kind of set before you got there. And this year we switched it up a little bit and we went back to full draft. So you had a pretty good idea about, 80% of campers. And like you said, there were 20 rookies. And so to get teams, the goal is for every team to be competitive and every team go 4-4. But what we see in workouts and what we see on paper sometimes doesn't translate. But I will say this. The rookies did a really good job, and we didn't have on Team Green. We didn't have a whole lot of guys that pitch, that's a primary position or something like that. So that was one of the things. Martin was like, "Hey, if anybody wants to pitch, let us know." And he had said to me early on, like, "Hey, I'll give it a shot." And I said, "Well, we're going to need you, And so I think you ended up pitching game 3 or game 4.
It was game 4, and then I pitched an inning in game 7.
One of the funniest lines I've heard in all of my camps came when Rany was on the mound. So the thing that I worry about with any camper, I'm not worried about how hard or how soft you were throwing. I just need you to get it over the plate. And the strike zone, the umpires do a really good job. And yes, they're college / minor league umpires, so they're professional. But at some point, they have to understand where they are, and they do a really good job of that. So the strike zone, will get a little bit bigger. But Rany actually did a really good job of throwing strikes, but as we laughed, and Martin, at being a hitter, definitely below hitting speed. And so he threw a pitch one time that we didn't know if it was a ball or a strike because it was too high and too low at the same time.
Deepest pitch.
Oh my God, I've never heard that term at camp. So that kind of encapsulates some of the things that happened at camp, but he did a good job. That was the thing. You don't want, if a guy doesn't have a strong arm, you don't want to put him at third base or shortstop and embarrass him, because they can't get it across the diamond or something like that. So guys have to know that what their ability is. And he played a lot of second base. And I will laugh. So there was a game. We started off 2-1. We were doing pretty good. 2-1 is quite a record for Team Green. I'm going to tell you that we're 3 games in and we're above 500, so that's good.
Team Green is all about having fun first and winning second. And actually, that turned out to be the perfect team for me because, like I said, I came in kind of nervous. I didn't want to let anyone down. And some of the other coaches, some of the other teams were a little more hardcore about winning. But I knew right away, it's like, you know what? Play my best. No one cares. Let's just have a good time. And that's what I was there for. So I was as shocked as everybody when, like you said, when we actually had a winning record to start the season.
So we win two of our first 3 and then we lose 3 in a row. So now we're 3-5 and we're playing the only undefeated team in camp, which was Jeremy Guthrie's and George Brett's team. And we played absolute lights out. Like every ball hit to every player was clean. Throw across the diamond. We scratched across 2 runs in 3 different innings. and we beat Georgia's team 6-4. Like, kind of the highlight of camp to get us our third win after losing 3 in a row. Fast forward, we go to lunch and we get back out for the 5th place game. And, man, I'm excited coming off that really clean game. And in the first inning, all 4 of our infielders fielded ground balls and were on their backs like turtles. And we gave up 6 runs in the top of the first inning. So that's how baseball goes. And so things like that. And as Rany was saying earlier, there's a lot of the similar things that happen, obviously, in major league games and things like that. It just happens so fast. And if you haven't been on a field and to know where to go, I think in your mind, when in Rany's defense, when he's watching a game, obviously he knows where everybody's supposed to be. It's a totally different ballgame when you are the actual one in the field playing, and you gotta get to where you need to get to. So awesome time.
I'm curious a couple of things. One, what was Rany? I want to see if I'm going to ask Rany first, and Jamie, you tell me if this sounds accurate. Rany, when pitching, what was your arsenal? What do you throw? See if Jamie's like, they all look the same to me.
Yeah, well, so Soren, when I got down there, I noticed that like when I went to Les Norman. I should say something great about Les. I mean, I never actually met Les before this trip. I've known him through Kaufman Corner, but we never met in person. I mean, he did an incredible job. He runs the camp, and it's just such a thankless job to like oversee everything. He's driving the shuttle vans back and forth from the hotel. Like it's a crazy job. And he is so relentlessly positive when you're around him. It's like he gets you fired up, and I'm like, I'm a nobody. And I thought he was like, let's put it this way. I felt bad because I thought he was giving me preferential treatment. And then I was talking to some of the other rookies, and they were telling me what he was doing for them. I'm like, oh, he's doing this for all of us. Like I thought I was getting perfect. No, that's just Les. But I mean, even Les, I was telling him, what I'm throwing, like I'm feeling a little pain right here, and I'm putting at the inside, the little bone here on the inside of your elbow. And he like cringed. He's like, Rany, that's your Tommy John. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, so I can't. But when I throw from up top, I don't feel anything. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to throw from up top. So I go out to the mound. In my mind, I'm thinking I look like vintage Tim Lincecum, who, that classic like Sports Illustrated cover where he's contorting his body side and he's coming from straight over the top. And it's such a deceptive motion, right? I'm sure Jamie will tell you I look like somebody who's probably never played baseball in their life before. But I just basically, it was like a direct 12-6 straight down delivery. Exclusively. So I threw like 7 different pitches. Let's go through them. I threw the changeup, the double change, the ephus ball, the drop ball, the dead fish, and then occasionally the triple changeup. I got 2 strikes on one batter, and I actually felt my oats. And for the one and only time, I actually tried to throw a slider. And my catcher said, yeah, it was a slider, but the batter managed to put the ball in play to third base, which meant he was going to be able to beat it out. But I did try and throw one slider. But the rest of the time, it was just rainbow straight down. And I struck out 1 strikeout on a guy who literally, the ball dropped so far and he swung so hard, he spun around and fell down. It was like the Bugs Bunny changeup. That was probably the best pitch I threw in the whole camp. And it was just because it was so damn slow, nobody could wait for it.
Is this an accurate depiction of his pitching abilities, Jamie?
100%. And I laugh because some of the side conversations that we all have rabbit ears, all of us that have been in the dugout before, been in the bullpen. So we always hear what's going on. So I remember hearing the conversation with Mark Fagan, our catcher, and Rany about him doing the slider after the fact. So I think those are the things that are classic to me. Those things that I hear that they don't think that we're listening and things like that happen. So one of the jokes was we were talking about spin rate and miles per hour in Rany, and I think Rod Myers at one point said, maybe Rod or maybe it was John Buck, like I think he was throwing 29, and I said I would take the under. And so when he started saying the number of his pitches, I was going to say, well, his 38-mile-an-hour fastball, then his 36-mile-an-hour fastball, then his 34-mile-an-hour fastball, and then he really slowed it down with his 18-mile-an-hour changeup.
Do you have a radar out there? And
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
they don't want to destroy our egos entirely.
There's no TrackMan data going on those fields. Now, what there is out there is there's the little cameras out there, so I don't know if you wanted to put it on Game Changer or something like that. Obviously, there's plenty of, wives and family members out there filming and doing that stuff. And I obviously took a couple pictures of Rany on the mound, and he faced Kurt Busch, so that was pretty cool.
Yes, that was the highlight. Kurt Busch was our celebrity guest speaker, the NASCAR, soon-to-be NASCAR Hall of Famer, winner of the 2017 Daytona 500. I know all this now.
By the way, you said that, and I'm racking my brain, like, who did Kurt Busch play for? I'm trying to figure out who this is. And then you go, racer. Okay, now I know who Kurt Busch is. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so he came to camp for one day, and he gave a talk in the evening. Great guy. I probably learned more about like NASCAR, like the mechanics of NASCAR racing, listening to Kurt for 30 minutes that I knew entirely before. Like he just said a lot of like, oh, okay, the G4. Yeah, I get it now. Like it was very, very profound. And told us
I'm
about
a huge NASCAR fan, so that
Kurt Busch, awesome. But they suited him up, he gave him a uniform. He played for Willie Wilson's team, and we happened to play them in the second game of the day that day, and that was the game I was pitching. So the whole time I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be pitching to Kurt Busch. And sure enough, like twice, that was the most surreal moment. Like if I ever write about this, I think that'll be my lead. I'm like, so I'm pitching to Kurt Busch.
Yes, right. That Kurt Busch.
Yes, yeah. Willie Wilson's like dogging me from the dugout, and my coaches are like, throw strikes, Rany, and it's like this wasn't a dream, but it really definitely felt like a dream. But I'm proud to say I got him to pop up twice. So I got Kurt Busch out. That'll be the story I tell the grandkids for sure.
I love it.
I'll say one thing too is like especially for rookies that have never been to camp before, and we, like I said, we had 3 of them on our team. It's about making adjustments. And Rany actually came up to me. I heard the line earlier. Obviously, I struck him out 3 times, which is almost my career totals. I get it. And there's nothing worse. I can't tell you how many kangaroo court fines that I have paid over the last 18 years that I've gotten to do this for getting my own team out.
Well, let me tell you that story, because early on, he shows us the video from I think last year or 2 years ago. So there's when your coach is pitching to you, and then one of the other players on the other team plays the position of pitcher, like fields for the pitcher, right? But obviously your pitcher is trying to help you get a hit, and the L screen's right in front of him. So if you hit it right off the L screen, boom, automatic single. But in the L, there's that corner where he's actually throwing, and if you hit the ball right through there. So Jamie shows us a video of last year, one of his batters hitting a line drive right back at him, and just out of pure instinct, puts up his glove right into the glove. He got his own batter out, and we're all laughing about it. And he got a kangaroo court fine. The same thing happens in like game 5 with the goal or the tying run at third base. Glenn Taylor, one of our hitters, I think it was the hardest ball he hit in camp. A line drive right at Jamie. Jamie just puts his glove up, boom, out. Innings over. It's like, what the hell are you doing, man? So he definitely got written up in the kangaroo court for that the next morning.
That is amazing. All right, let's take one more quick break here. We'll find out how Rany's club actually did. Where did they finish? Was it a success? We'll do that with Jamie Bluma, former Royal, is with us here on Kaufman Corner, right after you hear from our friends at Italian Delight. Italian Delight was the first restaurant to bring true New York-style pizza to Kansas City almost 50 years ago. They sell whole pies or pizza by the slice, or enjoy their classic strombolis, calzones, and sausage rolls. Sandwich lovers, check out their lineup of hot and cold subs, the combo, the meatball, or the Philly cheesesteak, just to name a few. And don't forget the pasta. Their famous lasagna and classic chicken Alfredo always hit the spot. If you're hungry for lunch, check out their daily lunch specials, starting at under $10. Italian Delight can even cater your next work function or party. Dine in, carry out, or delivery, it's Italian Delight. Located just 3 minutes east of Kansas Speedway at 8145 State Ave in KCK. Check out the menu and order online at ItalianDelightKS.com. Kansas City's own Italian Delight. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, proudly serving the greater Kansas City area. Nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. Locally owned and making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Let Gann educate you about the most cost-effective way to solve your parking lot problems. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews. Every project comes with a written warning. Gann Asphalt keeps your parking lot safer and helps you and your business avoid unnecessary delays and costly expenses. Find Gann online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. All right, when it was all said and done, where'd you guys finish, right? There are 4 teams, correct?
8
teams.
8 teams.
You
8
play,
teams. Okay.
you play each team once. That's your 7 games, and then there's a championship games, 3rd place, 5th place, and pride game. And my goal was to not get into the pride game, and we were able to avoid that. Like I said, we ended up. So the nature of our team, we were the only team in the entire tournament to beat Team Blue, which is they went on to win the championship. They were 6-0. We played them the first day game of the final day. Played the game of our life, beat them, and then they went out and won the championship 6-4. 6-4, and then they were down 4-0 going into the bottom of the 7th of the last game and scored 5 runs to walk off the championship. Quite dramatic, actually. Yeah. But we're also the only team. There was one team that the last place team only won 1 game, and we were the only team that they beat. So the highs and lows of Team Green.
That sounds like a management problem to me, Randy.
I think
it's always a management problem.
It's a management problem, and it might have been a blood alcohol content problem as well. I had 2 jobs on this team: raise the OBP and lower the BAC. So I did one of those, I think. But so we ended up in the 5th place game, and my body gave out about 7.5 games into the 8 games. Like I could not walk by like the 3rd inning of the final game. And I think a lot of my teammates, we just hit a wall. And we just got demolished in the final. I think it was like 22-5. It was our worst game. So we finished in 6th place out of 8 teams. But look,
that means you lost your playoff game.
We lost our playoff game. Exactly. But we won 3. I mean,
that was our worst game was the final game. I mean, and it wasn't necessarily our fault. They came out swinging the bat. You're allowed a maximum of 6 runs in an inning, and they smashed the ball all around the field. The top of the 1st inning, you're down. We're going to the bottom of the 1st. We're down 6-0.
Yeah,
and we had lost our games 10-9 and 5-3. So that was our only other losses until that game were by 1 run and by 2 runs. So we were really this close to being 4-1 or 5-1 at that point. But that's just how baseball is. That's how camp is. And then that game was the only game that we really just kind of got bludgeoned. But every other game, that's what's so fun about camp. Nobody wants to go there and go 0-8.
Right.
And you want to be in games. And so for us to be the only team to beat George, but the only team to have lost the team, was it purple or silver?
I think it was purple.
Right. Well,
there were 2 teams in that game. Yeah. So it was Wilson's team, I believe.
So what was your final record then?
3-5.
3-5.
Okay,
yeah.
that's respectable.
Look, 375 winning percentage. I've rooted for Royals teams that have done worse than that, so I'm perfectly fine. 375 is not bad.
It does mean you lost 4 of your last 5, right? Like,
very true.
Yes, we did.
You cooled off after the hot start. Was Tian to blame? Any bad strategies there, sending runners that had no business, waving guys a windmill over at 3rd that he ran guys into outs? Can we throw Tian under the bus while we're here?
I will take all the heat since he's not here to defend himself. I got too many of our guys out. And that it seems to happen. It's so funny, like in that regard, like obviously when I go out to get loose to throw to our team, you're trying to throw the most perfect 48-mile-an-hour 4-seam fastball, center cut. And the first warm-up pitch I throw to the opposing catcher, and he's like, "Was that a slider?" I said, "That was a 4-seam fastball."
Soren, I swear to God, of the 3 strikeouts, I'm convinced one of them, he threw me a slider. And Jamie Bluma had a good slider. Like,
yes, he did.
I'm like, what was that? But I will give Jimmy credit, because the next time I came up, I kept just dribbling foul balls off. And he's like, after my first swing, he's like, "Rany, just move back from the plate like 6 inches, like
off the plate."
In my form, like I was just, where he was throwing, because he could aim the ball precisely, but I was just too close to the plate, and so everything was coming off the handle of the bat.
Yeah.
The very next pitch, I rope a line drive right over his head, and I'm like, "Oh,
perfect.
That wasn't bad." Okay, so I forgive him for making me look bad 3 times.
So what was the deepest Randy hit a ball?
I hit one that kind of blooped right in front of the center fielder. Like, it was a hit. So that's
good. I mean, cleared the dirt. Yeah.
And I hit
base hit.
2 line drives towards one right over the 3rd baseman. One probably the hardest ball I hit was right at the 3rd baseman. He didn't have to move and caught it, but I had a good hit over his head, pulled the ball down the line. Though, those 3 swings I remember because it's the kind of swing where you don't feel it coming off because he hit the so perfectly. That's what you live for, right? Like, I gave up golf a long time ago, but I know that's what keeps people golfing, like, their whole lives, is that like one perfectly struck ball right down the fairway, and you're like, oh, I got that feeling on a baseball diamond for the first time in many years, and that's addictive, right? Like that, even above and beyond the awesomeness of fantasy experience in general, just playing baseball again. It's like, oh yeah, before I ever became, an quote unquote analyst, like I fell in love with the sport when I was a kid because I like to play it, and that it felt good to actually play baseball again.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Same here. One of the things that I say to all the rookie campers, I mean, as he said, there's so many guys that this was going to be a one and done, and this is their 10th or 12th or 14th camp. And we had a rookie this year, and I asked those guys, like, you have a picture in your mind, and Rany, you were talking about this earlier, what you want camp to be. You have this inherent, what do I want? Our job is to exceed those expectations. I mean, that's our job. And Les does an amazing job all the way down for all the other, guys that say yes to go do camp. Because, I mean, it's an investment in time and fun and all that kind of stuff. It's so fun for us because we don't get together with 18 of our former teammates and all that stuff very often either, where we get, 5 days off to play baseball, drink beer, smoke cigars, tell lies, and do that kind of thing. So our job every single year is to exceed expectations. And when we tweak it, I mean, going back to the draft and doing those sort of things. One of the things that I enjoy the most is on the second night of camp, you do a team dinner with just your team, and everybody gets the floor for a second and say, why are you at camp? How'd you get here and all that? And that's one of the favorite things that I get to listen to. And there's so many, really heartfelt and touching to tear moments sometimes in those dinners, because you find out why guys are there and what it's all about.
What, Rany? Why were you there? Did you just say, it was a gift? Sat back down?
Well, I mean, I certainly told the story of how I'm here because my wife and kids surprised me for my 50th birthday. And, I was wearing the number 50 and, but and I had this talk with my wife later. It's like, I probably never would have taken the plunge had she not done this for me. Like, it was something I always thought about it. Like, there was, always a part of me. It's like, is it going to live up to expectations? Am I going to, embarrass myself? Is it really that fun? And obviously being part of the media, I was kind of like, worried how would people, react to me. But like, I'm so thankful that like she's happy. Like, it was awesome. Everybody, obviously the coaches, Les on down were great to us. But I mean, the other campers, so many of the guys told me, like, you come here the first time because you're getting to meet like your heroes, right? Like Royals legends, and they're there and they're great and you have a great time. But I noticed the guys who've been there 5, 6, 7 years, yeah, they say hi to the coaches, and there's a familiarity there because you see them every year now. But like, they're really there for their teammates. Like, you really get to know the other campers, and I feel like you probably have more fun the more times you go, because it's not new. You actually know these people, and relationships start. And certainly for the guys who live in the Kansas City area, they see each other around town, in between camps, and strong friendships form. But even the guys who don't live in the Kansas City area, they look forward to every year they get. We're dudes. You can go a year and not talk to somebody, and then you see them, and immediately you're hitting it off, like no time has passed. So I told the guys, I'm like, I'm not sure I can get permission to come next year, but like, you probably haven't seen the last of me at camp. It was definitely a fun experience, and it's just unlike any other vacation I've taken. It's like a theme park for like adult sports fans, right? Like, I enjoy going to Disney World with my kids, and immersing yourself in this like fantasy world, right? And that's what it is. It's this fantasy world. Like, you are a ball player. Like, you've got the trainers there. You've got the cold tub. Jason Hanna, who's the Royals team photographer, the guy who's like taking like, incredible shots of like Bobby Witt in the hole. He's there the whole camp taking pictures of you. And I've got like photographs, of like action shots of me. We'll call action in quotation marks, slow motion action shots. But like, they look amazing, right? It's like everything about it is so first class, except for me, except for the person there. But that's the fantasy.
You're in the clubhouse. You're wearing the uniforms. Do you play on the main field in Surprise, Jamie?
We don't actually. Years ago we used to actually play. The alumni would play 3 innings against every camp team. That was one of the days of camp we would do that. But we had one of the campers ran into Bill Pacoda and broke his collarbone in that game, and so we got to the point we couldn't field a team for all. I mean, that's 24 innings that we've got for one of us. I remember one year, because I was the younger guy and maybe I had been out too late the night before, I ended up having to catch 18 of the 24 innings the next day.
Wow.
And this is Saberhagen pitching and Gubazaw pitching and Jeff Montgomery pitching and Marty Patton and all that kind of stuff. So we're just in the cloverleaf back on the minor league sides. It works out, really well to do it back there. Actually, a couple of the nights we were there was an Arizona Fall League game.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, going on the field while we were doing our banquet or doing our little speaking engagement afterwards. But it's a little different, man. It used to be in January too, and now it's in November. And just because of a bunch of different reasons, that we're always looking to tweak it, make it better, and see what we can do to make it just as enjoyable as we can.
Well, the look on Rany's face says it's pretty damn good. I don't know how you can make it better, because I've heard nothing but great things from everyone who's ever gone. I know a couple of the guys that are there all the time, and that they're never going to not go, right? Like, you'll know when Hurricane is not with us anymore, because he won't be at fantasy camp, but he goes every year. And, everyone just absolutely adores it, has a fantastic time. Randy's experience is the only experience I've heard from everybody. I've never heard anyone who doesn't come away from that just saying it was absolutely the best thing they ever did. Well,
and that's another thing you want to send a shout out, because we lost one of our campers that was at camp last year during the year, had a heart attack at 46 years old. Wow. The year before, another seemingly healthy, 74-year-old Steve Sutherland, was running on his treadmill at home and had a heart attack and passed. So you hear a little bit about that throughout camp. If you're having a beer and you pour one out for some of these guys, some guys were bringing some baseball cards of theirs from camp to make a little, a keepsake for one of the guys' wives and things like that. So you realize how much fun a lot of people want to do it once, but just like anything else, man, you only have so much time on this earth.
Yeah, Rany, in a week, you get just a taste of what the camaraderie, when guys talk about leaving the game and, I'm going to miss the guys. I'm going to miss the time together. Like, you really get a sense of that. It's, sounds like that camaraderie is there. It's built immediately as you share this experience with these guys.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like Jamie said, one of the things that makes the experience fun is knowing that your heroes, these ex-Royals players, they're there because they're having a good time. Like you said, for them, it's like the fact that they keep coming back. I mean, I'm sure they get, there's some compensation, but like, does George Brett really need, he's not there for that. He's there because he feels a connection to these guys, right? They're there, and yeah, they're hanging out with their ex-teammates, but they're also hanging out with a bunch of nobodies. And yet, like, you walk in, and some of the guys have been there 7-8 years. They're on a first name basis with, ex-Royals, and, they're dapping it up, and they're just acting like they're longtime buddies. That kind of camaraderie, you can't build that kind of like friendship in that quickly in almost any other endeavor other than playing sports, right? Like, you're put on a team, and like, for me, there's 96 guys there. I can't say I remember everybody's name, but I probably remember everybody's face. And I know the names now of like before you get down there, you see the roster, and I'm like, how am I supposed to remember? There's 6 different guys here named Brian. Like, how am I going to remember everybody's name? But by the end, it's like, I know that guy, right? Like, and my teammates, like, a shout out to all of them, to Hutch, to B-Rad, to Chip, to Pat, Martin, Eric Clayton, Chuck, we call him Brent, Papa B, Jim, Steve Schaefer, my catcher, Mark Fagan. He got me through pitching on the mound. He was relentlessly positive, even though I clearly sucked, but he got me through it, and I pitched okay. And then Glenn Taylor, my 11 teammates and me, the 12 of us, Team Green forever, Jamie. We'll see about next year when I come back down. So yeah.
One of the fun things from our locker room, sometimes we forget that we're supposed to be out there having beers with you guys, once the games are over for the day, because we're all in there, shooting the bull with guys we haven't seen. Like, one for me, Mark Gubazaw and Jeff Montgomery were the guys that took care of me when I was a rookie.
Right.
So for Gooby to come back, and so Gooby and I were talking. This line first came up last year, but he asked me again this year when he got there, because he took over for Sweeney, and he said, "How many camps is this for you?" And I'm not 100% sure on my correct number. It's either 17 or 18, because the stadium was closed one year. It was the 85 guys. We didn't have it because of COVID. I missed one year because I had a patella tendon reconstruction. And if it's 17 or 18, I told Gooby, I said, if I do 2 more camps, that's more than I have innings. So, and I've almost equaled my career strikeout total by pitching against Rany. So.
That is just the it is amazing how many guys in baseball are funny, right? Like are witty. It's first of all, it's a game of failure, right? Like we talk about that it's such a difficult game. You know, the old adage of fail 70% of the time, you're an all-star, right? When you're a batter and everything. But it's such a hard game that I think it really, you have to be, you need to be able to laugh to get through it. And I'm always amazed at how witty so many guys are that played baseball. Like, I think if you're uptight, like the story of Billy Bean just obsessing over striking out as a player. And that's why he, even though he had this talent that he was a, first round draft pick, he couldn't make it work because he couldn't handle the failure. Like you kind of, the sport kind of ejects those that aren't fun, because you got to be able to take, difficult times and laugh at it. And I think it does. I think create just an amazing group of personalities that play the game.
Well, and Rany can see this now, and if he gets to come back to camp again, is it's an endless supply of giving each other grief, no matter what happens. That's just, you better have thick skin. And to go along with what you said, Soren, if you don't have thick skin and you're just a miserable person and your numbers are bad, one, they don't want, you're not going to get signed because your numbers are bad. Two, nobody wants you because you're a miserable person to be around. I mean, guys that fail but have a great personality and do a good job in the clubhouse get more opportunities, period. That's just how that works. And so when you combine the two negatives and you're a bad player and a bad human, see ya. And we don't have any of those at camp. That's the great thing.
Rany, you got a final shot before I ask you guys a couple of questions? I'm going to give you a final four here before we go. You got any final thoughts you want to get out there?
I'm just trying to think if we covered pretty much everything. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the record's almost beside the point. Like I will say, the first night, it was funny when the team got together. They announced the teams. The first dinner, the coaches are in a room. They're drafting it, and I mean, I walked by the room, and it was almost like it sounded like a fantasy draft where you're, fantasy football or whatever, or like there's like yelling and screaming and like I want that guy, and you could hear stuff like that. But then they come out and they announce the teams. We all stand up, and I could immediately tell most of my teammates were very excited. Like, I didn't know why, right? Because they'd been on Team Green before. Like, and Jamie and Mark's plan was, again, I think, as he said, winning wasn't really their primary consideration. It was like, let's get the guys who have a good time.
Yeah.
So they're all very excited. I'm like, why are you guys excited? Like, Team Green, we're gonna have a great time. We're gonna get really drunk and we're gonna play hungover. And I'm like, okay.
That's our T-shirt.
Yeah, I was like, yes, I kind of went over to the coaches. I'm like, I'm happy to be on the team, but I don't drink. And without missing a beat, Mark Tian, he's like, perfect. You can be our designated driver.
I knew he was going to say, perfect. You're the driver.
And sure enough, we went out to dinner the next night, and I'm driving Mark's Lincoln Navigator, and I'm like, there's so many buttons on this thing, I might as well be drunk, because I'm like, I don't know how to drive this car, but it all went well. But yeah, it was just about having a good time and getting to know you. You sit at dinner and you like ask, what do you do for a living? How do you find out about camp? What your experiences? And you bond. And like I the thing I'm most surprised by at the end is like how much of a friendship you have already built with people you've never met in your life within 5 days. Yeah,
that is amazing. All right, 4 quickies for you here, guys. Who was the best player? We're not going to ask who the worst was, but who was the best? Who deserves a call out for being the best player? You got a consensus best player that was in camp?
I mean, I can say it because he was a rookie. So to rewind a little bit, we have some workouts down at the Urban Youth Academy for guys that are going to camp, rookies and foreign players, just to get them some reps. And 2, selfishly, for Les Norman, Rod Myers, and I this year was to recruit because we could actually see some of the rookies before camp. Now, it obviously mattered where we ended up picking in the draft, but there's a kid named Trevor Leininger and his father were at camp this year. And I remember the first throw of BP at Urban Youth Academy, he absolutely got his foot down and hit one in the left center field gap. And all I said was, "What's your last name, son?" And so Bobby Kerr's been coming to camp. And if you've ever seen him go play music with Bob Jovi in Kansas City, and the long blonde hair and all that. He's a good player, and everybody knows he's a good player. And has been so that's the two best guys. And Rany can, from who we played against, he can answer too.
Yeah. So I mean, Bobby looks like a ball player more than, and like I walk in, I'm like, is this guy a former major? Like, should he be in the coaches clubhouse? Like, he's got that, like you said, the gorgeous blonde locks. He just looks like a ball player, and he's a great guy and extremely nice and like very welcoming. But Trevor's with the rookies. So the rookies, they put us in a separate locker room because the main locker room was just not big enough for 96 guys. So we actually kind of like, you get to know the other rookies really. And we bonded well. There were some great guys. Trevor, like you mentioned, he played, I think, at Baker University. The other guy I'll mention, I think he won like MVP. And a great dude, Henry Weiler, who was also there with his dad and actually he played D1 ball at Arkansas. Like he was teammates with Andrew Benintendi. So like we actually, 2 degrees of separation from an actual, like, former major leaguer, or current major league, former Royal. And Henry, I think he was on the championship team. They saved him for the mound for the championship game. Let's put that way. He pitched at Arkansas. I think he could handle fantasy gift. And then he had the walk-off hit to win the championship too.
Okay.
So yeah, Henry was an amazing hitter too.
Who was the funniest?
Oh man. There are so many candidates. Jeez. I'll give a shout. I'm going to give a shout out because, we mentioned his name, but a lot of Royals may not even remember Rod Myers, who played, like 2 cups of coffee with the Royals in the mid 90s. And, I was told, he was invited to camp one time and he was just such a hit that like they keep inviting him back. He's very competitive, but like extremely funny. Okay. Him and John Buck would every day, the Kangaroo Court, they'd come out with the judicial wigs, the black robes. They oversaw camp, the Camp Kangaroo Court. And Rod just never ceased to make me laugh. Like you have no idea. You guy was in the major leagues for a couple months. You don't know their personalities, but those are the kind of glue guys that like Jamie was saying, get more chances in the major leagues because people want to be around them.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a guy that we got back to camp a couple of years ago with Les Norman and all of us talked about was Joe Vitiello. Like Joe was one of my favorite teammates. A cup of coffee, played around the league a little bit, but he just gets it. He's fun and he's, big Boston accent still, big redheaded, played college baseball at Alabama. And I was glad he got a chance to come back.
Well, it sounds like I have the answer. I was going to ask who's the most intense, but is that Rod Myers?
Between him and Jeremy Guthrie. Guthrie's pretty dang.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And there are some players like, they say, 98% of the players there to have fun. 2% of the players are there because they think they might actually get a contract when they leave. Like, there are some guys who take the game maybe a little too seriously, but like we're there to play ball. So that's good. But everybody
that's one of the funnier things that used to happen. And John Mayberry wasn't able to come this year, just dealing with a couple little health things again. But he would walk out the first day, first stretch, and explain to everybody that the Royals have yet to sign anybody out of this camp.
All right, and finally, most importantly, what pick was Rany?
I'm not at liberty to answer that.
Come on. I understand we're not throwing anybody else under the bus, just Rany. What was he, 12th? 14th out of 12? Where'd you pick him?
So here's how it worked, and it was a little bit tricky. So some of the guys in the draft were a package deal, whether it was 2 people together, like a father and son, or 3 guys together, so there were certain rules to the draft. So it was a little bit tricky to do the draft because if you take one guy and he's with 2 other people, you have to skip 2 more rounds of the draft till you get to pick again.
Okay.
And then another one is you had to have a catcher. Everybody had to have at least 2 rookies. And so it got down where, man, most of us picked the people that we had seen play before. And to not having seen, I mean, I knew who Rany was, obviously, but I'd never seen him play baseball or all that. So just about all the rookies, except for Trevor Leininger, fell into that 8 to 12 range because
you didn't know
we don't really know what we're getting.
Right. So eighth would have been, boy, we think this guy can play. So did he go 12?
He did not go 12. No.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Did it come up in the draft room? Did anybody not want me on their team because that guy's the blogger? Like, I don't know if I trust him to like say something about us later or something. I'm just curious.
No, that's why I got you because I knew you. I mean, I knew that. I said, hey man, we can get Team Green some pub out of this.
Okay, good.
And I got to talk to you about Skyreezy and Stellara and stuff.
Yeah, by the end, if I come back, I'm gonna one of the rookie mistakes I made is actually I had my actual last name on the back of my jersey, like most of these guys. So I'm just gonna be Dr. J from now on, because by the end, most people
That's
just call me
perfect.
Doc, and that was great.
So one of the things about Team Green, and you've heard it a lot, it's like we may not win a ton of baseball games, but we're undefeated at the Fire Pit.
Okay.
Mark Tien's jersey this year says Fire Pit champ.
I like it.
He was the only coach, I think, who didn't have his actual name on there.
Yeah. Well, because they spelled his wrong 2 years ago.
Oh my God. I actually had this talk with him. He has the easiest name in the world, 6 letters, and yet throughout his career, Mark Tien, the number of times his name would be in like newspapers, like reputable places, H-A-N instead of H-E-N. Yep. I asked him, like, did that drive you crazy? And he's like, yeah. I mean, just, I don't get it. So anyway, but he even did it on his uniform.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, hey, Jamie, thanks so much for spending the time with us.
Sure.
We really, I mean, look, we're not getting paid by Fantasy Camp to come on here and promote it, but I just know how much Royals fans, guys like Rany, guys like me, love baseball, love the game, and I cannot stress how much, if you do have the opportunity to do it, if you can get it. It's not easy to get in there because there's not always spots. So, but if you want to do it, every single person I've ever heard says the exact same thing that Rany does. Everybody has a ball, and everybody, Jamie, talks about you guys, ex-big leaguers, how great you guys are. So, keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing. You really are. I mean, you know it. You talk about guys getting up there, maybe being tearful about why they're there. Baseball is something that touches people's soul, and you get a chance to really warm their hearts. So, first of all, congratulations on another camp, because I know all the work that goes into it. So sure. Congratulations on getting another one done. But, thank you so much for really bringing so much joy to so many people's lives with this great, great opportunity for folks.
Well, and I'm happy to get the opportunity. I remember when I got to do my first one back in 2003, I didn't know if I'd ever get picked to do another one, to be 100% honest with you. So I was going to make sure the campers had the most fun, and maybe I'll get a chance to come back again. So hopefully that continues. Never take anything for granted.
Well, you're the man, Jamie. We really appreciate it, buddy. Thanks so much. Thanks for putting up with Rany.
Yeah.
And thanks for talking.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there he goes. Jamie Bluma here with us. Great stuff. Glad you did well. Glad you enjoyed it, Rany. Glad you came back in one piece.
Amen. Amen to all of that.
That's the most important part.
Yep.
Listen, we want to thank all of our great sponsors, our friends at Italian Delight. You certainly can be getting your holiday parties together. Italian Delight has got you covered with that. Go to ItalianDelightKS.com. They cater all your holiday parties, and, of course, with daily lunch specials starting at under $10. You heard me right, under $10. I keep telling Renee, you got to stop that. You got to raise your prices. He doesn't do it. So go check it out. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, for more than 40 years, serving Kansas City. Full service paving and pavement maintenance contractor. Still some time, as long as this weather holds, to get that seal coating done or get a book for the spring. Go to GannAsphalt.com. And our friends at Northland Injury Law, for more than 40 years, voted Kansas City's #1 accident lawyers, helping people with serious injuries, whether they're car accidents, work accidents, falls, you name it. If you've got a case, text HURT to 22222 or call 816-400-HURT and tell them you heard about it right here on the Kaufman Corner. Tell them you heard about it, that we're all thankful Rany did not need to, or really somebody else didn't need, Northland Injury Law, because they've got a case against Rany's bad baseball. That's what we can all be thankful for here today. That's going to do it for us. We'll be back at it for the good doctor, Dr. Rany Jazayerli. I'm Soren Petro saying thank you very much for joining us here on Kaufman Corner.